I know what the first comments on this video are probably going to be. But Joe, I have seen Dark on Netflix. Well, of course you have. You probably were running a search for yet another explanation of this show and found my video. But rest assured, I made that title on purpose because I want other people to check out this show, and I hope that I do a good enough job in this video that you'll share this with your friends so they too will check out this awesome show. So let's start with the basics. What is Dark? Dark is a German-produced show that is a Netflix original. It has 3 complete seasons that has a beginning, middle, and an end. So you do get one complete story when you watch this show. And speaking of being German-made, that's the first thing I will emphasize. Watch it with the subtitles in the original German language. Now, I'm also an anime fan, but I've never really given in to the whole sub versus dub debate. To me, it's on a case-by-case basis. But in this case, I would emphatically say to do the subbed. From the moment the opening titles start and you see that trippy kaleidoscope design they have, accompanied by the great song called Goodbye, you know that you're in for a weird ride with this show, and it does not disappoint. So let me go over some of the basics of the show so you can understand what I'm talking about. But I'm only going to focus on things that were introduced in episode 1, which is aptly titled Secrets. The story takes place in the small fictional town of Winden, whose centerpiece is the nuclear power plant that you see here. The news talks about a local boy being abducted and mentions how it's similar to another case where a boy went missing exactly 33 years prior. The story takes place in 2019. One thing that is super important to the story of this show is the different families that are involved. So I'm going to go over the different families that are present so you can know who to look out for. First up, you have the Convals. You have Michael, his wife Hannah, and their son Jonas, who actually becomes a very important character that you're going to follow through here. So pay attention to him. In fact, paying attention is one of the things you're going to have to do really well when it comes to this show. The creators added so many details, such as Jonas's yellow raincoat here. In fact, pay attention to the placement of sets, locations, and even camera angles as the creators mess with your perception, whether it be inverting an angle or a set. You'll just know that something has been changed. Now, this next part may sound like it's out of a soap opera, but believe me, it's all set up that's important for later. Next up is the Nielsen family, with the father Ulrich, who is married to Katharina, and together they have 3 kids, Magnus, Martha, and Mikkel.
Well, today's guests admit that they've been naughty. They say they can't go on one more day without revealing their steamy secrets.
We're still in episode 1, guys, but it's revealed that Hannah is having an affair with Ulrich. And while the initial consequences of this affair may be apparent, it takes these 2 characters down a rabbit hole you'll never see coming. Next we have the Doppler family, with Peter, his wife Charlotte, their daughters Francesca and Elizabeth. Charlotte is a police officer and works closely with Ulrich when they both get deeply involved in the missing kids' cases. Charlotte's daughter Elizabeth is hearing impaired, and it's characteristics like this that the creators of the show use later when they're trying to help you keep track of characters. You'll see what I mean. And you can't have this many teenage characters without having some good old-fashioned teenage drama. Magnus and Francesca actually have a pretty interesting relationship that becomes pretty important in the longevity of the story. But nothing compares to the complicated narratives that is Jonas, Martha, and Bartosz. You will think it's just a classic love triangle, but you have no idea. And that brings me to the last family, which is the Tiedelmans, which is Alexander, his wife Regina, and their son Bartosz. And there's at least one more member of the Tiedemann family that I can't talk about yet because they weren't in episode 1, but rest assured, they're one of the most important characters in the whole series. So I'll wrap up this video by letting you know the setup here. When the kids go to explore a mysterious cave near the town, Mikkel disappears. While searching for Mikkel, the body of another boy is found dead, and later when you find out the truth about who it is, that's when the craziness of this story takes off. And if that still doesn't entice you to check out this show, I've got 2 words that show up in episode 2. Time travel.